Hello and welcome back to the Movie Memo Recaps. Today we are going to recap a 2025 movie titled Back in Action. Please be advised that there will be spoilers ahead. In the opening scene, we are introduced to top CIA spies, Matthew and Emily. Shortly, Matthew receives a call from MI6 headquarters informing them about their next target. They are tasked by their superior and friend, Chuck, to obtain the key called the Industrial Control Systems, a device that can control any electronic system. They must get it from the Polish KGB agent turned terrorist Balthazar Gore during his 8-year-old child's birthday party. Gore is the head of the terrorist organization named Volka. Chuck says that Gore could use the key to trigger another catastrophe like the Chernobyl nuclear accident. They play the role flawlessly, ensuring that their target does not suspect anything and allows them to enjoy the party. Using his previous handshake, Emily uses a gadget to scan her arm for a fingerprint, which she uses to retrieve the ICS key. An alarm sounds, and the mansion's security arrives, but the duo easily defeats them. Chuck instructs them to get to the extraction location and not inform anyone about retrieving the ICS key. When they arrive at the extraction spot, they meet Baron, another MI6 agent who has organized a plane for them. Inside the plane, Emily reveals that she is pregnant with Matthew's child and is concerned that he would not accept responsibility for it. In most circumstances, raising children as spies is not desirable. However, he is eager to assist in raising the baby and is overjoyed to finally be a father. To mark the occasion, he instructs the flight attendant to fetch them some champagne. Emily tries to use the bathroom, but the flight attendant denies her access after spotting something unusual. The flight attendant snatches Emily from behind and demands the ICS key. Matthew gently pulls it out and tosses it to him. Distracted by it, the steward lets go of Emily, and they immediately seize and discard him. A brawl breaks out when it becomes clear that everyone on the plane is against them. Emily disarms the gun before fighting the attackers, but the air host locates it and reloads it. He's ready to shoot Emily when Matthew grabs him from behind, forcing him to miss. The bullet hits the pilot, and the jet crashes into a hilltop without control, with the air host clutching the key as the impact splits the plane in half. Before they know what is occurring, the plane is about to crash into the ground. Seeing this, Matthew gets a parachute and hands it to Emily. Because she is the only one remaining, he begs her to look for herself and the baby, as he is about to sacrifice himself. Emily ignores his gibberish and grips his thigh as they glide through the snowy slopes. After successfully landing, Matthew says they don't have to continue being spies because they're expecting a child. Since their jet crashed, it would be assumed by headquarters that they didn't survive, but now is their opportunity to escape and start a new life together. 15 years later, the now married Matthew and Emily reside in Atlanta under new identities while trying to care for their children Leo and Alice. Emily has a side business selling custom puzzles on Etsy. Alice and Leo are now teenagers and don't really listen to their parents. Alice has doubts about her parents being truthful as she had heard Matthew speaking to the AC repair guy in Russian, which Emily explains to their stint in the Peace Corps. Emily tries hard to connect with Alice, but she needs her own space and keeps pushing back. Arriving at school, the pair observes their daughter kissing her boyfriend and even employs binoculars to get a better view. Alice calls them out, thinking they're acting strangely in front of her pals. Emily continually lamented at home about how much she cares about her daughter, something she never received from her own mother. When she hears a beeping noise, she realizes it's her daughter's computer. After attempting random passwords, she finds a scratch paper behind the machine and correctly guesses the password. Matthew joins her, and she points out that Alice could be lying to them. As spies, they should always keep a watch on their children. She finally inputs the password and realizes that Alice is somewhere other than her friend's apartment, as she had previously stated. Using their phone's GPS tracker, they finally discover she is at a club. When the couple arrives, they advise their daughter to leave, but she points out that other kids her age are having a wonderful time as well, revealing she has a fake ID that gets her into the club. At that moment, a man approaches Emily, informing her that Alice will not be leaving, and referring to her as a boomer. The man grabs Alice as she prepares to escape. Emily gets furious and takes the guy by the throat, bashing his head on a platform. The fight escalates into a massive brawl, forcing Matthew to join in. The couple ends up interrupting the celebration. Matthew notices a teen recording them and takes his phone to delete the video. In the car, they refute her lie that she was studying at the club. The couple lies again, telling her that they acquired a few moves at a taekwondo class and, with practice, have become good guardians. Alice does not trust them and returns to her room. As they talk, Emily can't help but think back to their time as spies. To relieve the strain, Matthew tries to reassure her by reminding her that they chose to leave that life for the family they wanted. To lighten the atmosphere, Matthew spars with her. Alice accuses her younger brother of betraying her location, but he denies any participation and expresses his delight at her grounding. Chuck pays them a visit the following morning. Matthew is surprised to see him, and he explains that he found them through an online video of them beating up several men in a nightclub. He also claims that Baron, a colleague, set them up and works alongside Gore. He's looking out for them and believes their home has been compromised, so they should flee to a safer location. A sniper shoots him down before he can finish his words. At that point, some mercenaries enter the fray and fire intermittently at them. With the children at school, the couple makes a strategy to pick them up and flee. While evading the pursuers, Matthew admits that he has the key and did not give the host the right one during the plane mishap. He says that he concealed it at her mother's home in England. Emily is naturally upset over the fact that he kept everything hidden from her. When a car approaches too closely, Matthew fills a Diet Coke with Mentos and throws it at the bad guys. The splash leads them to lose control and collide with a truck, sending them flying. They swiftly pick up their children and drive directly to the airport. The children continue to probe them, and they begin to reveal certain things that they have kept hidden from them their entire lives. To answer their questions, Emily discloses that their grandmother is still alive, and they are going to stay there for a while. When the pair arrives in London, they continue to hide their faces from cameras, and Alice is unable to understand anything. They quickly catch a bus to a remote parking lot, where they steal a car in the name of their personal chauffeur. Meanwhile, Baron arrives at the airport, using the camera feed to determine their present location, and some of Gore's men are also pursuing them. The couple instructs their children to switch off their phones inside the car to prevent tracking. When they run out of petrol, they decide to stop at a gas station. The children begin to quarrel over their parents' genuine identities. When they look at their passports, they are surprised to learn that they have different names. Leo even searches their last name on his place switch, only to discover that the identity belongs to a deceased individual. The couple begins to arrange how they would examine the problem. Matthew explains that they need to obtain the ICS key and take it to MI6 for immunity. At that point, a group of Gore's men arrives at the gas station. Seeing this, Matthew uses a gas pump as a flamethrower to ward off the goon, while Emily gladly engages in hand-to-hand battle with them. Their children watch in awe, surprised to see whether their parents are really pulling off those stunts. Following the fight, the spouse swiftly gets the kids into the car and drives away. Baron arrives with his agency, and Matthew, attempting to establish a barrier between them, shoots at a truck carrying massive pipes, forcing them to tumble down the road and preventing Baron and his men from pursuing them. In the car, the children are desperate to discover their parents' true identity. Unable to defend themselves, Matthew admits that they once worked as spies for the CIA. At that point, Matthew discovers that his son's switch has a Wi-Fi connection, so he takes it and throws it outside. When Emily arrives at her mother's house, Ginny, a gunshot resonates across the air, showing that she has just shot down a harmless bird. A furious argument breaks out between mother and daughter, but they take it inside. Matthew attempts to defuse the situation by exposing their genuine purpose for being there. At that point, Ginny's love, a middle-aged man named Nigel, enters to meet everyone and requests that the children address him as Grandpa. Meanwhile, Baron, with the help of his partner, locates them after discovering that Emily's mother once worked for MI6. Nigel leads the kids to his secret area, where he tries to show Leo his training supplies while also mentioning that he develops computer codes in order to impress them. Matthew ultimately tells Ginny that he concealed the key here and merely came for it. Another furious exchange occurs, and Emily admits that her mother was never present for her growing up. Ginny snaps back, saying her daughter despises her, while Alice discreetly overhears the exchange and flees so they don't notice her. Ginny admits that she has always tried her hardest to balance her employment and mothering responsibilities, but Emily insisted on attending an American boarding school. The couple goes in quest of the key, while Ginny spends time bonding with her grandchild. Meanwhile, a squad of armed militia members infiltrates the property. After receiving the key, the couple hears some movement outside, and as they enter the house, they are surprised to find Ginny tied up alongside Nigel. As they quickly released her, Chuck's men surrounded them. They are surprised that he is still alive after witnessing him being killed by a sniper. He reveals that during the visit, he faked the incident. So far, everything has gone well since he wanted them to bring him to the key, which he knew they possessed. He also says that the agency accused him of the key's loss after 15 years, which resulted in his termination. He lost everything in the process, and he's preparing to sell the key on black market in the hopes of recouping his losses. Meanwhile, a group of armed men examine Ginny, suspecting she remains bound. She manages to avoid detection and neutralizes them with a tranquilizer. When another armed man arrives, she battles him, and a gun fires, striking Nigel in the arm. Using the distraction, the couple rapidly disarms some of the men, but Chuck instructs his men to bring the children as hostages, urging the couple not to do anything dumb unless they want to harm their children. Subsequently, they receive a violent blow from behind. They wake up Ginny and inspect the CCTV footage for clues. Fortunately, Leo can admit that he is still wearing his thumb ring. This allows them to identify their current holding place. Chuck is attempting to sell the key to the highest bidder because Gore has not compensated him for collecting it, so Gore dispatches his men to reclaim it. Chuck starts by demonstrating the key's powers. With the assistance of his computer brilliance, he can turn off the power to the entire city by simply clicking a few buttons, even opening the water barrier that is only controlled by the officers. Seeing this, the buyers start bidding. In the meantime, the pair manages to reach the building, only to find guards manning the entry, prompting them to engage in a fierce battle to defeat them all. The bid concludes, and the key is sold for $250 million. After arriving at the building, Baron informs the couple that they know Chuck is behind everything and want to arrest him, but they must collaborate. When they find Chuck, he flees the building while the pair pursues him. Chuck directs his men to transport the children to the boat while he takes off with them. Gore's men stop them on the road, show them a gun, and demand the key, which the couple denies having. At that point, a sniper dot appears on one of the guys' faces, revealing that the shooter is Emily's mother. Gore's men surrender, and they ride their bikes after Chuck, who has already taken off on a boat with the kids. Meanwhile, some of Gore's men receive word that the pair has fled, leading another group to pursue them on bikes. However, after a swift turn, the riders end up in a garbage dump, and Emily pushes her pursuer onto a platform, causing him to crash. Emily finds a boat and chases Chuck, with Matthew joining in later. Chuck calls his assistant, who holds the key, to join him. After spotting Chuck's assistant, Nigel can't stand by and do nothing, so he drives fast and crashes with the car, forcing the driver to lose consciousness. He goes in and tells Ginny he has the key, and she orders him to try to close the barrier. But because he lied on his resume during the job interview and has no concept of what is displayed on the computer's UI, he panics and presses some random buttons that produce error codes. Meanwhile, Emily reaches the boat, and Chuck's men attempt to fight them, but they are easily beaten down and thrown into the ocean. Nigel abruptly punches some random buttons on the computer, causing the barrier to instantly close. Seeing this, the family begins to leap into the lake, and as Chuck tries to stop them, Matthew, with the help of his wife, punches him back. The boat collides with the barrier, cutting short Chuck's recovery. The family is finally safe. In America, Alice scores a penalty kick and wins her first football championship game. As everyone celebrates the triumph, Alice tells her mother that she would like to go see a movie with her, and Nigel pledges to teach Leo everything he needs to know about becoming a spy. The pair is overjoyed that things are finally returning to normal, until Baron, who has been hidden in the car's backseat, reveals that Chuck is still alive. Emily needs a partner in the struggle, but it will not be Matthew. Baron discloses that the new partner is her father. Matthew is surprised to learn this because Emily never stated that her father was still alive. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.